I'm Kristen. Welcome to my tiny home. Hi, I'm Kristen. I've been living in this van for a little over a year now, and I thought it was finally time to just do a van tour. I feel like I've been putting off doing a van tour for like a year because I'm just like, oh, it's not ready, oh, it's not organized the way I like, or whatever. And then I realized it's probably always going to be changing, so might as well just do it. I actually do like how things are now, how they're organized, and how everything is kind of set up. This is a 2017 Sprinter van. It's the 140 wheelbase. I've really enjoyed being able to spend the last year in this, and it's for the most part only been me. So this length and everything has been the perfect size for what I need and how much time I actually spend inside the van. I'm a person that likes to be outside a lot, so I don't often spend that much time just hanging out in the van, but even if I do, I'll show you, I feel like I have plenty of space to get everything that I need to done. This is open. That's embarrassing. I'm not refilming any of that. I did not build it out. I had bought it used from a company. I figured for my first van that it would be easier, and I was running out of time, have a van that was already built out and then figure out what I want. And if I get lucky enough to be able to do my own builds, then I'll know a little bit more of what is necessary, what I don't need, and everything like that. This layout is really nice. There are things that I totally would have done differently or added or subtracted from the build, but generally speaking, this has been perfect for me. I feel like I've finally kind of made it my own, which is really great. It's taken me a lot of time. A year to be exact, to start to feel like I like where everything is and needs to be. With it being such a small space, it has taken me time to kind of figure out where everything has a spot. I love living in here so much, so I'm really grateful for just the experience of being able to live in this little home, and that I get to call it my home. I do really appreciate the white and the light wood because it makes everything feel a lot bigger, honestly, and more open. Even though it's pretty tight in here, obviously, it's a van. But the first thing you walk into is the kitchen. First thing you walk into, as if there's anywhere else to walk. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure how much I love or hate this, but it is really nice to have a lot of counter space. The one downside is that if you do have to get into the fridge, you have to kind of get everything off this section of the counter. However, I don't know, I've kind of liked not having something that has to pull out for a fridge. This has been really convenient, so being able to just lift this up and then have an entire section that has my fridge / freezer in it. I also like having a crew window. That has been really nice. These shades are from Van Essential. They sent me them for free. They're not sponsoring this video, but they come off magnetically like so and fold right up. I'm going to be finishing the rest of this tour on a voiceover because the rest of the video didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. So here's an overview of the van. As you can tell when you walk in, like I said, the walls are really bright and the light wood is really nice because it helps things feel a lot more open and, I don't know, just like fresh, which is really nice. But things do get really dirty. That is the one downside of the white, but that's okay. It's usually a pretty quick cleanup. As you can also tell, there's a lot of storage, which I really appreciate because I like to have a spot for everything and keep things really organized, especially in such a small space. We're going to start with the back of the van and kind of move our way front, and then we'll go to the garage at the end. Okay, so starting with a bed, it is a full-size bed. It's super comfy. It's like plush and is shaped to the specific shape of this area, and then at the very bottom, the top of the bench flips up and extends it so that it's a little bit longer. And then there are two little cabinets up there on the side that house some more of my clothes, and of course the ventilation fan up top, which I always have open when I'm cooking and things like that. I have absolutely thrived using hooks and shower shelves and things like that to help kind of like just add a little bit more to the walls and make it feel even more homey, and also just kind of help with organizing things. Right below the bed there is a bench, and like I said, the top of that bench flips up and that makes the bed a little bit longer. Underneath the bench there is some extra storage where I keep things like propane, medicine, my blender, waffle iron, extra things like that. I do have to say I would really appreciate having some sort of table in order to sit here and get work done. I think that I would probably end up using this a lot more, so maybe that's something that I'm going to add next. On the side of the sink there are two switches. The one on the right is the inverter, so I flip that on to be able to charge anything with these plugs and USB ports, and I really just use these if I need anything that's going to take a little bit more power, like my blender, or if I'm charging anything for cameras or laptops. And then the switch on the left connects to the water pump, which is underneath the sink. The sink has a butcher block that pulls out, which is kind of really nice to have that extra counter space where the sink is. Underneath the sink is where the water pumps up from, so I have an 8-gallon tank underneath connected to a water pump. And then of course trash and cleaning supplies, soap, everything like that. It's not very cute, but hey, it's van life, so that's just what it looks like. Here's some more shelves that I got that are shower shelves. Really handy, honestly. Also above the kitchen, I have 2 extra shelves that have my bathroom stuff and my dry food and stuff like that. It just wasn't interesting, I guess, so I forgot to film it. I already talked to you guys about the fridge, which is underneath that little swingy door thing. Like I said, there are pros and cons to that. I just didn't want anything that was going to pull out, so I kind of like the idea that it was tucked away and wasn't going to take up space on the floor at all. The stove is a Dometic stove. It's propane. It's a 2-burner stove. I have it hooked up to propane that sits behind the driver's seat, but having a propane stove has been really nice, not having to rely on electricity or anything like that. And of course I travel with knickknacks and things like that, and I do put things away that are breakable when I do start to drive, but you kind of have to make the van feel like home, and so I do the best that I can with cute little decor and pictures and everything like that, just make it feel like home. All right, now we have our closet, at least that's I guess what I would call it. That is the only mirror that is in the van, and so the amount of fit checks I've had to do on my phone, don't even get me started. There's a lot of storage, which I really appreciate. I actually can fit so many clothes in here, and yes, my clothes are wrinkly, but that's just how it goes. I do switch out my clothes from winter to summer, so I don't have to store every single piece of clothing that I own in here. And then I also have a container in the back of the garage where I keep some extra clothes that I can swap out if I want. Underneath of that, I have access to the garage, which is really nice, where I keep things that I just want to kind of be out of the way but still accessible. For example, my laundry, showering items, and extra gear that I just want to be able to grab. Sometimes I throw my running shoes down here, sometimes my running vest, ski gear. It just kind of depends on the season. Again, hooks have been so helpful. Just freaking command hooks, man, go a long way. All right, now we are going to head into the front of the van. Again, hooks. I use hooks literally for everything. Hats, running vests, jackets, towels, things like that. Above the passenger side, I keep my climbing shoes, fanny packs, bucket hats, things like that, and then extra jackets. Above the driver's side, I keep all of my hats that, yes, look really squished, I know, but that's kind of how I organize all of them. I just kind of lay them on top of each other. I do have one swivel seat, which I really love. It's the passenger seat. It's really nice just to have to kind of open the space up, or if you need another place to sit, and it is sitting on top of my diesel heater, which I usually move my shoes when I turn that on. But that's been really nice to have. Like I said, it just kind of opens up the space a little bit. All right, now back to the garage. So over on the right, you'll see my shower that doesn't work because the company that I bought this van from gave me a lot of things that didn't work, but it is connected to a 20-gallon tank. At the end of the garage, you can see the door that is open. That's where all the electrical is. It is kind of annoying to pull everything out, but thankfully I haven't had to go back there that much. There's a switch also by the water pump that turns on the overhead lights in the garage, which is also really handy because it is so big. It's nice to have those extra lights, especially at night. This can hold so much stuff, which is really, really nice. I can literally fit all of my activity gear, from paddleboarding to biking to skiing to running to camping. Literally everything is back here. Extra games, shoes, clothes, jackery, emergency items, extra jackets, everything like that. These panels on the side are from Van Essential. I really love them. This video is not sponsored, but it is really nice just to have things organized for activities. Like, for example, in the summer, it's usually biking stuff. It just like takes up less space for all of your gear, which is really nice, and it organizes it and makes it look really aesthetic and cute. I didn't film this, but on top of the van, I do have a solar panel that does charge everything in the van. I'm usually able to go 3 days without it seeing sun or driving the vehicle, and I've never run out of power. This awning that's attached to the van is really nice to have just when it's hot. Just to be able to have an outdoor space too that almost feels like it's an extension of the van is kind of fun. Definitely feels like I'm sitting in my backyard or my front porch and I'm sitting out and working, but also just blocks the sun, keeps things nice and cool. It's kind of annoying if there's any wind, I do have to say. That's about it, you guys. That is a general tour of the van and how things are kind of set up. I would love to answer any questions if you guys have any, and definitely let me know in the comments below anything that you've liked that maybe you do have that have changed things for you that I didn't mention or don't have in my van, or any recommendations like that. And I would also love to know if you have any questions, specifics about like what diesel heater I use or anything like that. I would love to answer your questions and just help each other out in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along for more van life type adventures. One of the things I love about van life, if I forget something, I left my laptop in the kitchen. I can reach it from the bed. Everything is literally at your fingertips. Oh, it's fine. Just literally 2 steps away, because it's like 1, 2 steps. That's the length of the vehicle.